Hello everyone. Today we are going to understand indexes in DynamoDB. So there are two types of indexes. One is local secondary index, and the other is global secondary index. Now about the local secondary index, first important point is it is within the partitions. So if your table has been created, for example, in this case, if the partition key is user ID and sort key is game ID, so your user ID is the partition key. So this is going to be mandatory in the local secondary index. So just keep that in mind. And whatever other column that you use, that will be in addition. So say in this case, I want to create index on GMTS. So my LSI would look like this: user ID plus GMTS. So your sort key is changing basically with local secondary index. So that's the achievement or the objective of this local secondary index. Where the sort key initially when we created it was game ID, and if I want some other sort key, say like GMTS, then I would create a local secondary index. Or say I want another local secondary index or result. So it would be user ID plus result. So just keep this in mind. Partition would be constant. Only the change is sort key when you're creating the local secondary index. You can define up to 5 local secondary indexes, and there are some limitations like index items must be less than 10 GB. Plus, local secondary index can be created only at the creation times when you're creating the table. After that, you cannot create it. So that's one of the important points. The other thing is it supports eventual strong and transaction consistency, and it uses the same provision capacity units of the base table. Okay, so here is the examples. They get all games of user ID 1 to be are sorted by game taste. See here you can see my partition is same user ID, but my sort key is not changing game taste. So in this case, it will use the local secondary index. So that's the advantage of local secondary index. You are changing the sort key, and you can have up to 5 LSIs. Only possible only at the creation times. Index item must be less than 10 GB. It supports eventual strong transactional consistency. So these are the important points related to LSI. Now coming to global secondary index. So this is like you can create later on as well. And this is like you want a different partition key or a sort key. Then you would go with the global secondary index. This is like you want to search data across the partition. That is across the that is from the whole table. That's the idea. So there you will use a global secondary index. So it can be different. It can have a different partition key, different sort key, or it can have same partition key. That is also okay. In our case, the partition key is user ID, but I create a global secondary index of user ID. So when I say I query user with multiple user IDs, in that case, it will use global secondary index. It will check across the table using this index. That's the advantage that it is. So here you are changing the partition key and sort key as well, and you are scanning everything across the table. The other important point is it supports only eventual consistency. That's very important, and it has a separate provision throughput. Just keep this in mind. So example is get all games where result equals to win. So here you can see I am not passing any partition key here. So this is across the partition. So I want across the partition all the games which have resulted into win. So here I will call the GSI. So this is about the LSI and GSI. So just a quick comparison again. In LSI, partition key same. GSI can be different or same. Same for short key. Maximum indexes for LSI 5. GSI 20 is off limit. You can change it by writing to AWS. Then only at the creation time, LSI and GSI anytime. LSI cannot be deleted. Just keep this in mind. And GSI can be deleted. Query scopes, single partition, and GSI across partitions. Consistency, eventual strong, transactional. This is eventual only. And as far as throughput or capacity modes is concerned, it has a separate capacity in mode and units basically. And LSI, it uses the table throughput. And item size limit, it should be less than 10 GB per partition key value. Here there is no restriction. And any table attributes and GSI, the projected attributes only. So say suppose here in this case it will return user ID only, right? So only projected attributes can be part of the if result basically. Choose LSI when you need the same partition key. I mean, we understood this additional cost as well, and as well as eventual consistent. So this is my table actually. So I go here, click on my table. We have this option of indexes. See, my table is already created, and it is giving me option to only create index. That is global second. So when I create this index, I can provide the partition key and sort key. Right? This is optional, and it will use the separate throughput or the capacity. And retrieval projections, right? So what all columns or attributes you are keeping in the index. If you're keeping all the attributes, then you will get all the projected attributes. Otherwise, if you say only if you keep only keys, right? Say suppose in our case, if I just keep user ID and result, then I will only get user ID and result. I cannot get all the other attributes. So it depends on this particular option. And suppose if I create a table, the customize settings, this is secondary indexes, create global index, and here you just create local index. In local index, you are having just option to change the sort case. Just keep this in mind. Okay, this was all about LSI and GSI. Thank you so much.